At the start of the movie, we see that two girls, Hunter and Becky, are trapped on a huge 2,000-meter tall tower. They try calling for help, but because of the high altitude, their phones don't work. The worst part is that the tower is in the middle of a desert, so no one can see them. To make things worse, some vultures start attacking them. If they fall asleep, they will fall to their deaths. The story then goes back in time where Becky, her boyfriend Dan, and her best friend Hunter are rock climbing. They seem to be having fun when Dan finds a small hole. He puts his hand inside the hole to hold on, but suddenly a bird comes out, making him fall and get tangled in the rope. Dan tries hard to swing back to the rock, but can't. Becky and Hunter also try to help him, but the rope breaks and Dan falls to his death. The scene then moves to 51 weeks later, and Becky is still troubled by the incident. She looks sad and has been drinking a lot. Becky's dad, James, is worried about her and tries to convince her to move on with her life, but she doesn't listen to him. One night, she thinks about ending her life by taking too much medicine. Just as she's about to do it, she gets a phone call from Hunter after a long time. The next day, Hunter visits Becky and talks about her plan to climb the B67 TV tower. She invites Becky to join her, saying they can bring back the adventure they've missed for a long time. Becky, who is hurting, shows no interest in doing it. However, the next morning, when she remembers her time with Dan, she changes her mind and decides to climb it for him. Soon after, they both head to the tower. On their way, Becky sees some old photos of Hunter on her phone. As she looks through the photos, she sees one with a man's hand on Hunter. Becky asks about the man, but Hunter doesn't give any details. Just then, Becky gets a call from her father, but she doesn't answer. After a long drive, they stop at a motel for the night. During dinner, Becky learns that Hunter is now a vlogger and makes enough money to travel to new places. Meanwhile, they see the TV tower, which is the fourth tallest structure in the United States. The next morning, Becky and Hunter get in their car to continue their trip. Hunter starts driving and filming her vlog, telling viewers about the 2,000-foot tall tower. While focusing on the vlog, they almost hit a truck. After a while, they arrive at the tower but find the gate closed with a danger sign. They decide to leave their car and start walking through the deserted land. On their way, they see vultures eating an animal, which Hunter records in her vlog. She also posts the photo of the animal on social media, where it quickly gets many likes. A few moments later, they reach the tower, and Hunter continues her vlogging. Meanwhile, Becky gets scared of climbing as she remembers her past. She thinks about giving up, but Hunter encourages her to face her fears. Hunter then attaches her rope to Becky's and starts climbing the ladder inside the tower. The whole tower looks rusted, the ladder seems shaky, and the bolts are loose. While Becky is climbing, one of the metal rods of the ladder breaks, scaring her. Despite this, she gathers her courage and keeps climbing. Eventually, they reach the halfway point and see that the city looks tiny. They take a short break, drink some water, and then continue climbing. After some time, they climb 1,800 feet and now have to climb the last 200 feet on the ladder outside the tower. Becky is scared of the wind, height, and rusted condition of the tower. She asks Hunter to go back, but Hunter just tells her to keep going. Following this, they begin climbing the outside ladder, which is even more dangerous than the previous one. Soon, they see discs blocking their way and have to move to the side of the ladder. Hunter easily gets past the obstacle and helps Becky across. The wind gets stronger as they climb higher, making Becky even more scared. When Hunter notices this, she frightens Becky more by shaking the ladder. This causes the bolts to loosen, and one falls out. Luckily, it doesn't affect the ladders, and they continue to climb. Before reaching the top, another bolt falls off the ladder. Finally, they reach the top and start taking photos and videos. Still, Hunter isn't satisfied, so she uses her drone to get better shots. Soon after, she hands the drone control to Becky and hangs herself from the ledge to gain more views. She climbs back up and tells Becky to do the same. Becky is shocked and refuses, but Hunter convinces her, saying it's the only way to overcome her fear. Becky then takes Hunter's hand and slowly hangs herself from the ledge. Hunter takes some selfies and pulls Becky up before their hands slip. After this, Becky scatters Dan's ashes and says a final goodbye to him, creating an emotional moment for both of them. Now, they decide to go back, so they attach their harnesses, and Becky goes first. But as soon as she climbs down, the ladder breaks, causing her to fall. Luckily, Hunter grabs the rope and pulls Becky up. After the near-death experience, they both laugh wildly. However, their laughter quickly fades when they see the ladders are gone. They check their phone, but it has no signal. They also notice that their bag with water and supplies has fallen onto a disc on the tower. They find binoculars and a flare gun, but they are useless. As a result, Becky panics, but Hunter calms her down by saying that the noise from the ladder falling must have been heard by someone. She also convinces Becky to wait until help arrives. As soon as the two are brainstorming ideas to escape the situation, Hunter notices a large cut on Becky's leg from the fall, so she immediately ties her shirt around the wound. After some time, Becky starts interviewing Hunter, asking why she began vlogging. Hunter replies that she started it because of Dan, making Becky suspicious. A few hours later, Hunter checks her phone and remembers posting the animal's picture earlier. She thinks there's a signal at a certain height. She gets an idea. prepares a help post, ties her phone to the rope, and sends it down as far as she can, hoping it will get the signal and upload her post. However, their attempt fails. Despite this, they are sure there's a signal at the base and decide to throw the phone down to upload the help post. Hunter then puts her phone into her shoe, pads it with socks and her push-up bra, and throws the shoe. They wait. Just then, Becky notices a 143 tattoo on Hunter's foot. It's revealed that Dan used the code 143 to say "I love you" a short time later. Hunter sees a man and a dog at the base of the tower. They scream for help, but their cries go unheard. Hunter's phone is shown to be destroyed, indicating their plan failed. As the man prepares to leave, Becky throws both of their shoes to catch his attention, but it doesn't work. She then decides to use the flare gun, but Hunter stops her because the man won't see the flare during the day. They notice another man who has arrived for a party. They plan to use the flare gun at night so the men can easily see it. Eventually, night falls and Becky shoots the flare gun. Luckily, the men notice the flare and see the girls waving for help. They quickly approach Hunter's car, making the girls happy. However, instead of saving them, the men steal their car and drive away. This breaks the girls' spirits, and they need to find a new solution quickly. Later, Becky asks about Hunter's tattoo. Hunter reveals she had an affair with Dan for 6 months. She apologizes to Becky for falling in love with her boyfriend and making a big mistake. She says she was drawn to Dan because he listened to her, unlike other men. She loved him, but she loved Becky more, so she ended the affair. Hearing this, Becky is disappointed that her friend and boyfriend betrayed her. The next morning, Becky's phone alarm goes off, indicating it's been 24 hours since they threw Hunter's phone. Extremely thirsty, Hunter decides to go down to the disc to get their bag. She ties one end of the rope to the tower and the other end to herself. She descends all the way down but still can't reach the disc. With no options left, Hunter removes her harness, hangs on the rope with one hand, and swings to the disc. She retrieves the bag and drinks some water. Then, she uses her selfie stick, hooks the bag on the rope, and clings to it. Becky pulls the rope while Hunter climbs up. She's about to reach the top, but her hands slip and she falls. Becky's heartbeat stops, but when she looks down, she's relieved to see Hunter still holding on to the bag. However, Hunter's hand is injured, so Becky uses all her strength to pull her up. After a while, Becky writes a help note, attaches it to their drone, and decides to send it to the motel. Unfortunately, the drone can't travel far because its battery is low, forcing them to bring it back. After failing once more, they feel helpless again. Later that night, Becky has a terrifying dream about vultures eating Hunter's body. She wakes up and realizes it was just a nightmare. The next morning, Becky realizes they can charge the drone using the tower lights. She climbs up the pole and plugs in the drone's charger, but it's too loose, so she has to hold the charger until it's fully charged. Despite the intense heat and constant attacks from nearby vultures, she stands firm, but in the process, she drops the bag all the way down from the tower. After a while, the drone is fully charged and Becky climbs down. Becky launches the drone towards the motel, but just as it's about to reach, a truck hits it, destroying it completely. Seeing this, the girls are devastated because they see no other option. Later, a storm makes their survival even harder. Becky is exhausted and wants to sleep, but Hunter forbids her because the vultures might attack her. Becky then asks for Hunter's shoe to throw her phone down one more time, but Hunter says she can't because her shoe is on her foot down on the disc. Here, it's revealed that Hunter couldn't hold on to the bag during the previous fall. Instead, she fell on the disc and died. Becky just pulled up the bag and has been surviving alone since then. Sadly, she's been hallucinating Hunter's presence all this time. At night, Becky survives the storm. She also records a video message for her father, expressing her wish to return home. Elsewhere, James is also worried about her. The next day, a vulture notices Becky's defenselessness and starts eating her wounds. Becky grabs the vulture and strikes its head against the metal surface, killing it. She then eats the vulture's flesh to survive. Gaining some energy, she ties herself with the rope and jumps down to the disc where Hunter's body is lying. She sends a message to James and places her phone in Hunter's shoe. This time, she puts the shoe inside Hunter's body and throws it down. Later at night, James receives the message and immediately calls 911. He rushes to the scene and sees the police transferring the dead body. He sobs, thinking the body is Becky's, but soon he's relieved to see his daughter alive. Finally, the father and daughter reunite, creating an emotional moment. Don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications to catch more videos like this. Thank you for watching.